So WordPress 6.8 has literally just dropped. You may have found some of your sites have updated. You might find some of your sites are saying updates are available. So what is included in this update and what's worth taking note of? Now, I'm not going to cover all the things that have been added because there's a lot of little tweaks and things under the hood that most of us have no interest in. So I'm going to focus on the key things that I think are the most useful and interesting. So the first one, straight out the box, is what's called speculative loading. Speculative loading effectively looks at the page, sees what links are on there, and then will preload the pages that it thinks your visitor, a non-logged in visitor, is going to want to look at next. Therefore, when they click on that link, it's preloaded. The site is incredibly fast to load in. This is enabled by default, and you may not want that to be the case. So if you want to find out how to get rid of it, check out this video here. And if you want to find out more about it and how you can use it in combination with some other free tools, link in the description down below. Okay, so that's that one out of the way. We'll shove that one to the side. Now let's take a look at the ones we can physically see the differences of. So let's focus first of all on some of the changes that have been brought into the editor. One of the key ones is if you're working with the query loop. Now, the query loop is the way in which you will sort of loop through your posts, your custom post types, those types of things. And it's a very common thing you're going to do inside WordPress. Well, you can see I've already created one here, and let's take a quick look at it. It's a typical kind of loop for my posts. So first of all, you'll see we've got this sticky post. So if you work with sticky posts as part of WordPress prior to 6.8, they will always stay stuck at the top, not necessarily what you want. So what we can do is we can select our loop, come over to the settings on the right-hand side, and inside there, we've got our order by like we've always had. And you can order by newest to oldest, oldest to newest, and so on. So if we flick this over, you'll see sticky post stays at the top where all the rest change. If we go through A to Z, you can see sticky post stays at the top. It's basically what a sticky post does. Might not always want that. So what you can do now is you've got the sticky posts, and we can choose to ignore them, exclude them, or only show them. If we say ignore, it doesn't care if it's a sticky post anymore. It will go in whatever order you set it. So if we change this over to newest to oldest, for example, you'll see sticky post is the second one. Change it to oldest to newest, sticky post now becomes the last but one on the list. Get the idea? So that's the first thing that's been added in. Useful, and if you are using native functions and you do create a lot of loops and you want to ignore them or whatever, you can do that here. So pretty cool. Next up, we've got the new option that allows us to show the post count inside our loop. So if we've got multiple pages, we can see the total post count for any of our query loops. Most important thing here is you have to be inside the query itself for this function to be able to work. So if we come in and choose our photo blog posts where we're not actually inside the loop and we do a search, you see nothing shows up. However, if we get rid of this and go inside, just choose our group, doesn't really matter too much, come back up, do a search for query, we now have query total. So if we click and add that in, you can see it tells us we've got 12 results found, which isn't correct. We've only got 10 in this example, but it's just a placeholder. So you can position that where you want to inside the stack. So you may want to put that at the bottom, for example. You can drop that down the bottom, and you can see at the bottom now, we've got 12 results found. If we save this and go and preview it, you'll see it tells us there's 10 results found, which in this example is correct. So again, kind of useful. Another one of those little features that's nice to have, not the end of the world when we didn't have it, but it's there now should you want to use it. Let's take a moment to hear from today's video sponsor, SEO Press. Now, creating custom page titles and meta descriptions manually can be time consuming. SEO Press offers a solution that lets you quickly generate meta titles, descriptions, and alt text using OpenAI while keeping your data private. With SEO Press Pro, you can save time, improve your rankings, and optimize your website with maximum efficiency. Enhance your SEO with the help of AI. You can learn more by following the link in the description down below. Another new feature is the ability to set the featured image in a slightly different way. If you come into any post or page, and yes, you can do it on pages, not just posts, come into the post section and you see we've got a featured image. Let's remove that so no featured image is set. We've got this image in the flow of our content. We can come to the three dots with it selected and we have the option set as featured image. That's now been added to your featured image, and when you save it, that becomes the featured image for that particular post or page. It's quick, it's easy. You may find a use for it, you may not. The final thing we're going to take a look at is the color picker option. Now, this is one of those little things you may have a use for it. It's kind of hidden away. And again, from a UI point of view, it's not necessarily the most obvious. Currently, it only works with text as well and heading. So this may roll out to other features as well. So let's grab this little block of text, come over to our colors inside our block section, set a background color. We'll choose something like this black. So now we've got a black color on there. Let's choose our text color and set that to white so at least we can see it. But now you'll notice when we come over either of these colors, we get a little minus symbol on the right-hand side of those colors. That allows us to basically reset it to the default value. So we click reset, the background goes. We click reset, the white text goes. Again, not the most obvious, but it's there. And once you know it, you can start to use it. One feature I did miss out that I want to come back to and draw your attention to is when you're in your post or your pages and so on, you can now see the template and make changes to that template without actually switching out of the post or page you're editing. Let me show you. If you come up to the sort of preview window, the little sort of desktop icon, click on there, we now have the show template option. You can select it, that will switch you into the template, at which point you can make changes to that template. You see there's the structure over on the left-hand side, so everything inside there. And then once you've finished, you can simply come back out of this by going back and by clicking on the show template again, and you jump back out, and now you're just editing the actual page or post content, not the template itself. So this is a nice kind of way of doing round tripping without having to open up additional pages or opening new windows up, without disrupting your kind of workflow. So this is a nice change, a nice feature. There's something that's good to be added to WordPress 6.8. So those are kind of key things that we have inside the normal pages and the posts and things like that. We have some more things inside here which are more geared towards setting up your overall styling and so on in WordPress. So let's come back over to the dashboard, and we're going to go into Appearance, and we're going to come into Editor. It's worth bearing in mind that this is only available to you in the way that I'm going to show you if you're using a full site editing theme. If you're using a classic theme, you can see the things, but you can't edit them. I'll show you what I mean. Come into the editor, and inside here, we've got basically the same as we've had for a long time. However, if we jump into Styles, you can see we now have the option at the top to click on the little style book eye, and that will open the style book, and we can start to customize the look and feel of this. The nice thing with this is you can click on any of these elements. So for example, the colors, and you can choose the different colors from the set palette, customize your own colors should you want to. Come back from this, click on the typography, for example. You can change your typography, change all the things that you want inside there. Again, come back out of this. Come down to your images, for example, click, and you can edit. You get the idea. Now you can make changes inside here. This is nice, quick, and easy to work with. I'd love to see this roll out in more use cases because I think this is one of the nicer aspects that we have with WordPress as it is right now. So that would be good to see this roll out to a little bit more. And obviously, because we're setting these styles up, they're global styles, so they'll apply to anything you put in there, the text, the images, buttons, and so on. So if you apply sort of borders and radiuses and drop shadows and all those kinds of things, they will take effect on the entire site. Now, if you're working with a classic theme, you'll still have the same kind of options available here, but you won't be able to make changes. So if you come into your style book, for example, you can't click on any of these to make changes. This literally will just show you what you have and nothing more, because classic themes don't actually utilize the full site editing styles and so on. So you're not going to get the benefit of that, which is a shame, but partially understandable. So WordPress 6.8 is a pretty small, minor release when it comes to features, but it is also worth bearing in mind this is the last major release we will see until next year, 2026. So all we're going to see now are security fixes, tweaks and enhancements to what's already there. We're not going to see any kind of major new features, so it's worth bearing that in mind. Whether that's a good thing or a bad thing, let me know, because I've created a video on that right here. Go and check that out next. My name is Paul C. This is WPTuts, and until next time, take care.